Robert Spencer here for Jihad Watch, a program of the David Horowitz Freedom Center and for the Center for Security Policy. Will ignoring and denying a problem make it go away? That question came to mind regarding the controversy that has erupted over a mosque in New Hampshire that an investigator contends is preaching jihad. Instead of checking this out, however, the local police chief claims that the charges are just Islamophobia. Is he really willing to bet the safety of his local citizens on that? The New Hampshire union leader broke the story recently, not by reporting on the investigation of the mosque, or even what was being claimed about it, but only reporting on the reaction from the mosque leaders and local law enforcement officials, all of whom agreed that the mosque had been unfairly accused. Since the union leader, however, did not include the accusations, there was no way really to tell whether or not this was true. Then investigative journalist James Simpson published the evidence and made it clear this mosque very much warrants investigation, and the Manchester, New Hampshire police chief, Nick Willard, is derelict in his duty. Simpson reports that investigator Dave Gabatz found a great deal of material promoting jihad in the mosque, including a brochure entitled Jihad in Islam. Simpson writes, "This 33-page document makes clear that the goals of Islam are to subjugate the world. Under the heading, What Jihad Really Is, it states, in reality, Islam is a revolutionary ideology and program which seeks to alter the social order of the whole world and rebuild it in conformity with its own tenets and ideals. Muslim is the title of that international revolutionary party organized by Islam to carry into effect its revolutionary program. And jihad refers to that revolutionary struggle and utmost exertion which the Islamic Party brings into play to achieve this objective. Islam requires the earth," this brochure adds, "not just a portion, but the whole planet, not because the sovereignty over the earth should be wrested from one nation or several nations and vested in one particular nation, but because the entire mankind should benefit from the ideology and welfare program, or what would be truer to say, from Islam, which is the program of well-being for all humanity. Towards this end, Islam wishes to press into service all forces which can bring about a revolution, and a composite term for the use of all these forces is jihad." Now, this was found in this mosque, and much more besides. The union leader piece does quote Dave Gabatz saying, "On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most extreme, I rate this mosque a 10. Then it goes to the chairman of the Islamic Society of New Hampshire, Mohammed Awies, who said, "These unsubstantiated charges are full of lies and have spread distrust of his community." And Manchester, New Hampshire Police Chief Nick Willard declared that what Gabatz had reported is, quote, "slanderous. I do not believe the mosque is a hotbed for terrorism. I don't trust this gentleman's research. I think he's trying to sell a book. I think the guy is a crackpot, and I don't believe we have those issues in this city." The union leader stated that Willard said his detective embedded in the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force has no information that corroborates Gabatz's claim. Willard doesn't mention, and probably doesn't know, that the FBI is forbidden to study anything involving Islam in connection with terrorism. This was something mandated by Barack Obama back in 2011. And so it wouldn't know the danger signs to look for in a mosque, even if those danger signs stabbed them with a machete while screaming Allahu Akbar. Willard offers an argument from authority, which is the weakest of all arguments if you've studied logic, in invoking the Joint Terrorism Task Force, without establishing that the Joint Terrorism Task Force is at all competent in this area. He then offered an ad hominem attack, another logical fallacy, on Dave Gabatz, asserting with no evidence that Gabatz is just trying to sell a book and is a crackpot. This was a classic example of the phenomenon known as "shut up," he explained, and lends credence to Gabatz's claims, because clearly the Manchester Police Department doesn't even want to consider the possibility that there may be problems with this mosque. So if there really are, what then? Willard was not alone. Manchester Alderman Chairman Patrick Long declared, "Personally, this hate talk has no place in this city. That's just my opinion." Now, he wasn't talking about the material about jihad found in the mosque. He was talking about Gabatz for calling attention to it. Alderman-at-Large Dan O'Neill said, "There is no need in the city of Manchester for hatred. I know this board won't stand for it. Our citizens won't stand for it. How do fools like this get elected? Long and O'Neill ought to be ashamed of themselves, if they still have the capacity for shame, and ought to be voted out of office at the earliest possible opportunity. It is not hatred to raise legitimate concerns about what is being taught in mosques, as well as the fact that 80% of the mosques in the U.S. are Saudi-funded, and the reality of Islam's teachings on jihad, the rights of women, Jews, and much more all cause concern. To smear Gabatz as spreading hate without any investigation of his specific assertions about the mosque is to do what they claim he's doing. Now, Nick Willard added that Gabatz, quote, stokes the flames of fear, but he does so through hatred, bigotry, and intolerance. His Islamophobia has no place in our country, and certainly no place in the fine city of Manchester that embraces diversity of all levels to include freedom of religion. Where do they find these guys? The Islamophobia charge is a propaganda term designed to intimidate people into fearing to oppose jihad terror. Willard's statement here is a classic example of how it works. What if Gabatz's claims about the mosque are true? And this is the response he's getting. Then in the future, people will be afraid to speak up about what they may see going on in mosques for fear of incurring charges of hatred and Islamophobia. Chief Willard needs to be put on notice. If Gabatz's charges indeed do turn out to be true, and you have waved them away by defaming him, then when it becomes clear he was right, the responsibility for the devastation in your city will be on your head. In a sane city, Nick Willard would be forced to resign in disgrace over this episode. But like so many other cities in America today, Manchester, New Hampshire is not a sane city. I'm Robert Spencer.